everyone, it's Jaden, and you're listening to the Health Notes podcast, where I talk about everything from health and lifestyle to mindset for the performing artist. Whether you're a singer, an actor, or simply a health and fitness enthusiast, I hope you'll join me in discovering how we can elevate our health to give our best performances. Hey everyone, welcome back to Health Notes. Today we're discussing a highly controversial topic among singers, and that is coffee. Yes, if you sing at all, do public speaking, or anything related to making sound with your vocal cords, you've probably Googled, is coffee or caffeine bad for your voice? Well, I can just tell you right now, when I just looked that up, AI told me, yes, AI, I guess I can't use Google as a verb anymore, or I'll sound old or something. Anyway, it said, and I quote, yes, coffee is generally considered bad for singing because its caffeine content can cause dehydration, leading to vocal dryness and tension. So, there you go. End of episode. Question answered. The end. Well, actually, it's not quite as simple as that. And if you're anything like me, you've probably tried to find all these studies and articles that claim otherwise because you love your morning coffee so much you would never be willing to give it up. There are actually so many Instagram reels and YouTube videos claiming this is a myth. But there are just as many videos claiming that it's truth and that you should never drink caffeine or eat dairy or sugar or spicy foods or basically anything before you sing but water. But let's just take a step back here. This is really not realistic, and we're not robots. As with a lot of things, this topic is more nuanced than you would think. And I'm not just saying that just to back up my love of coffee. In this episode, I'm going to give you some science-backed research and discuss some of my own personal findings, which are, by the way, not all in favor of caffeine. So let's start with science. A systematic review published in 2021 on behalf of the Voice Foundation attempted to go through all available experimental studies on caffeine and the voice. And apparently there are not a lot out there, so it was kind of hard to do. The participants in these studies were given either coffee or caffeine tablets ranging from 100 to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. That's around 1 to 4 cups of coffee. And guess what the results were? No clear detrimental effects on the voice were found, but, and this is a big but, the evidence was weak. The studies weren't randomized and were few in number, as I've mentioned, so researchers couldn't make solid clinical recommendations. So maybe caffeine isn't the villain it's made out to be. Science says we still don't know enough, but this doesn't mean people don't have their own opinions, especially singers. For example, during my first summer program in high school, a teacher came to talk to us about voice pedagogy. This was sort of my first introduction to vocal health, and I remember being so interested and taking a bunch of notes, and sadly, I have lost those notes and I have no idea where those are. But I do remember her answering a few controversial questions. Those stuck in my brain. Even though we were all still in high school, apparently a lot of us already ran on coffee, and she got a lot of questions about drinking coffee before singing. But she said that drinking coffee is completely fine as long as you drink twice the amount of water with it. So for a long time, I thought okay, I'm fine as long as I drink a ridiculous amount of water. So through college, I never really measured how much caffeine I was drinking, just kind of gauging what my water to coffee ratio was. And for a long time, I didn't have any problems until I started getting into recitals. And if you don't know what a voice recital entails, it's basically you just singing for a straight hour. Yeah, I think my first recital only had to be 45 minutes of music, but all of a sudden, I realized how much stamina and vocal endurance it really takes to sing all by myself while maintaining a clear vocal quality. During this time, I noticed some discomfort after singing through my recital repertoire that felt like hoarseness or some kind of dryness, like there was a film on my throat or my vocal cords. I was also probably drinking a lot of coffee at that time because I was very tired, and honestly, that afternoon cup of coffee from the campus Starbucks was saving my life. I really tried to not get it every day, but with being in a show and preparing for a recital at the same time, I was just very tired. Anyway, this is the first time I really felt the need to cut down on caffeine, and ever since, I've always been very conscious of my coffee consumption around these important recitals and shows. However, I can't confidently say that the caffeine was the main problem. As I continued to prepare for my first recital, my stamina naturally increased. There are always so many factors that come into play with vocal production. It could be influenced by physical or vocal fatigue, the type of exercise you're doing, like if you're doing a lot of mouth breathing in your workout, or even seasonal allergies, the weather, and the time of day. I know this sounds crazy, but you'd be surprised at how much your environment and what you put into your body can do to your instrument. Just think about it this way. If a violin player takes their instrument outside in the winter, they have to be super careful because wood contracts in the cold. The strings might go out of tune and its tone might become thin if the air is dry and it can't resonate fully. In a similar way, weather and especially the substances we put in our body will affect our tone production. Now, don't take that too seriously and think that we can't handle singing in the heat or that you'll never be able to sing unless you cut out all caffeine, dairy, and sugar. No. If you're a well-trained singer, your voice is going to perform. In fact, some of the best singers had some crazy pre-performance rituals, and their voices were seemingly unaltered. For example, some singers such as Frank Sinatra and opera singer Enrico Caruso were known to drink alcohol right before singing, and in Sinatra's case, during his shows, to apparently calm their nerves and aid in relaxation. And alcohol, just like caffeine, is known for its dehydrating effects. So, what is the verdict? Is caffeine going to dehydrate you or not? Here's the thing. Coffee doesn't pour straight onto your vocal cords, and neither does water, contrary to popular belief that you can just take a sip of water and then automatically hydrate your cords. It doesn't work that way. Caffeine might affect your body's overall hydration because it's a diuretic, but your vocal folds feel the impact only through your body's internal water balance. So the answer is yes, objectively, caffeine can dehydrate you, but that's only if all you're drinking is coffee all day, which I know some people like that. I still stand by what I learned back at the summer program in high school. As long as I'm drinking twice the amount of water, maybe a little more than my coffee intake, then I don't feel any negative dehydrating effects. Something that's also a non-negotiable for me now that I have learned more about hydration and supplements is taking my daily dose of electrolytes. Electrolytes are crucial if you want to be properly hydrated, and a lot of people don't know that even if they're drinking half their body weight in ounces of water, their body might not really be absorbing it. The water that we're drinking these days, more often than not, is really bad quality and stripped of all the minerals our body needs to actually absorb into our cells. So the main electrolytes we need are sodium, which helps the water move into the bloodstream and cells, potassium, which balances sodium and keeps muscle and nerve function stable, and magnesium and calcium, which supports muscle relaxation and contraction. My favorite way to get in these electrolytes is by using a high-quality powder that I just pour into my water every morning. I especially like to take it after a run or workout because it replenishes those key minerals I lost while sweating. But you want to make sure you're getting a high-quality brand because a lot of the popular electrolyte powders and drinks have artificial dyes and sweeteners, which do more harm than good for your health. Personally, I use the brand Relight, which, just FYI, not sponsored, but I really love all their flavors. They use Redmond real salt and stevia leaf for sweetness, and you can buy it in bulk or in individual packaging for traveling. I think I only started taking electrolytes a few years ago, but now that I have felt the energizing and hydrating effects, I don't think I'll ever go back to just chugging a gallon of plain water a day. So there you have it. Coffee isn't literally drying out your vocal cords after all. Myth busted. But remember, your body is your instrument, and whether you drink coffee or not, staying properly hydrated is non-negotiable for a healthy voice. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss the next one, and share this with a friend who might benefit. I'd love to share some of your reviews at the beginning of each episode, so if you'd like a shout out, leave a 5-star review and follow me on Instagram at Jaden Heil. And until next time, sing strong and stay healthy. The information in this podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any decisions related to your health.